So, welcome people. It's finally here, the thing all you've asked for, power rankings for SBF. My name is Sorrow. I'm gonna be guiding you through here today. I'm the commissioner of SBF, as most of you who are watching this will probably know. I will be making these for low tier and the both singles divisions. Don't know if you can hear it, but I'm still a little sick, so hence why I'm gonna do these alone and not with anyone else, because I'm recording these like really early in the morning. Anyways, if you notice any cuts, that's because I'm stopping recording and having a sneeze. And without any further ado, I'd say we're gonna hop right into our low tier power rankings for season 10. Shout out to Miklas for helping me out, giving me input, and also making this beautiful graphic you can see on my screen here. And I hope you all enjoy. So starting us off will be at rank 16, the Rain City Rillaboom, coached by Little Bigs. I'm really sorry to put you down here, man, but at first glance, looking at your team, it's just lacking that oomph. Like, I'm missing quite a lot of power here, honestly. Like, I like the defensive core you have there with Crobat, Gastrodon, Gourgeist, and Miltank. That will be a nuisance to break. But other than that, like, when you're like, your top breakers are like Lycanroc and Tauros Paldea, I suppose, Terra Captain Pinsir maybe, and the Houndoom. But what I'm missing here is like the big high tier threat. Also, the speed gap between Crobat and Lycanroc, I think it's manageable actually. Not too sure about that, but like speed wise, this team is okay in my opinion. As I said, defensively it's pretty great. Got your hazards with your Gastrodon, you got your very, very good defogger in Crobat, right? So this is like, from a defensive standpoint, I think it's really, really good. But as I'm saying, like, the lack of really good offense is what brings this team down for me. Of course, y'all can feel free to disagree with me on these, because this is purely subjective on how I think the teams are, and also on how much I would like to use these teams. That's also a big factor for me. So like, I don't think this team is bad by any means, but it's just compared to the others, it is a bit lacking in my opinion. Hazard wise, you got your Gastrodon, as I think I already said. Miltank can set up rocks, you have Crobat to defog. I think Togetic can defog as well, but it's a bit passive. And like, the absence of a dragon type is also what kind of bugs me. But although there aren't that many good ones in low tier, so I can forgive that if I'm honest. What else? I'm intrigued to see how you take this team, or if there are gonna be any transactions. Moving on to rank 15. So on 15 here, I've got the Sydney Superior, scorched by your average person. And honestly, this team, to me, it doesn't look bad. It definitely has like threats like your Shell Smash Torterras, the Slowbro, because I think we didn't ban Quick Claw, so Quick Draw, Quick Claw could be a thing for this. You got a defensive beast in Mega Audino, because that thing, like, in every season so far we played, prepping this is a nightmare. Crocodile is a cool little Violet user, also Terra Captain for the team. That's what I like a lot about it. Now, what I don't like about this team is it's kind of slow. So, outside your Grafaiai, which probably can run funny and burden stuff from Picurchin, you're pretty much gonna run Trick Room a bunch. If I look at like your Slowbro, your Marowak, Alola, even like Picurchin, like, this team could function very well under Trick Room, I'll give you that. But you got good hazards, good removal in Sandslash is a very good spinner in low tier. Don't know if Murkrow can defog actually, but it probably doesn't want to. But also, and my main issue with this team, like, you have one knockoff switch in, that's like your Mega Audino, the rest of your team hates knockoff, sorry. But that's how I see it, and like, Stealth Rock and knockoff are gonna be two of your biggest enemies. And so that's like the two main things that bring this team down for me. Like type-wise, also no dragon type, which is interesting. I think quite a lot of coaches did forego the dragon type in this draft, which I kinda get, because like, really there are not many that good of dragons available, right? So I totally understand why you would do this. Would have loved to at least see like a Terra Dragon Pokemon then, but yeah. Otherwise, you have your fairy. You have like your grounded poisonous lower, which is always nice to have to absorb those T-spikes that's gonna be pesting. Oh yeah, we actually have 2 with the Grafire, I'm sorry. Yeah, no steel type, or immediate steel type is also like Crocodile obviously can tear into a steel type here. And I guess it's probably will have to do that more often than not, if I'm really honest here. And also no bulky water type, so this is really, I love me some bulky waters. I can't find one here, and it's basically what brings this team down. But I'm still really intrigued to see like if you can get this Trick Room going with like Slowbro and Marowak Alola. That's gonna be a hell of a threat. Then in 14, I actually wanted to rank this team way higher. Miklas asked me to put it first just for name value. It's not just Confies, coached by Adura, and yeah, like but I think Honch would be furious if I put this like on the top. And also, in my opinion, like the team itself, unfortunately, is not as great. You have your cores there, I think, which are pretty good. Like in Fire, Water, Grass, you have there even in 2 Pokemon, and also you have the Cradily still, which is pretty nice. But that's again a dual typing, which is meh. Mantine and Delphox are pretty cool. Yeah, also no Dragon type 1. Oh, I'm wrong. Altaria is a Dragon type. I'm stupid. Yeah, like you have your Fairy Dragon Steel core. You got the Swell going. Quickling is a pretty cool low-tier steel in my opinion. We didn't see it used as often in this league, so I'm intrigued to see where he takes it. It's also one of the few sources of momentum he has, because I think like, of course, like Manectric and Klinkling both can Volt Switch, and I think Creamy gets Baton Pass. I'm not too sure though, and I think like Yara Momentum is probably just Baton Pass. Volt Switch can just be blocked by any ground type. Not having a ground type yourself is also pretty meh, because Volt Switch is kind of free once you terrestrialize your Mega Manectric. Not terrestrialize, you Mega your Mega Manectric, I'm sorry. Yeah, so that's makes this pretty hard. Also, I'm not too sure what the Heatmore does here actually, except for being Terra Captain number 2. Like you have a arguably better fire type in Delphox already, and that's, yeah, I don't know. Elsewise, like your bulk is pretty decent. Like you have a Drapion, you have a Mantine. Klinklang as a steel type is always nice. Sock is a great physical breaker as a fighting type. That thing, I love to use it myself. I used it a lot. Great Pokemon for low tier for sure. Drapion is always a threat with its various sets. Like can set up, can run Assault Vest, can just straight up be offensive if you want to. T-Spikes, of course. Got a pretty good Defogger and Manton and Altaria. Yeah. So I think this team also isn't bad in any way. I just think there are some ways to improve this, as I said. Like, for example, I think you could trade the Heatmore for maybe a better Terra Captain, because, yeah, I don't see this thing do all that much. Also, minus points for naming yourself Hunches Comfy and not drafting Comfy. So, that's also brought it down a lot for me. In at 13, I have put the Spidops GmbH, coached by Fabi, who joined the league just recently. Miklas wanted to put this way higher. For me, there are just some issues with the team that hold it back for me, like Samurai Tizui, obviously 3 spikes every time you kick Ceaseless, obviously does not have sharpness. What I gotta say though is that your team, again, this team is stupid weak to knock off. Like using Eviolite on Gebite or Thwacky sucks, Frostless hates it. Flareon really doesn't want to come in on a knockoff and lose its Flame Orb, or I should say Toxic Orb actually. Then Lapras doesn't want to lose boots. Fortress is probably like your best knockoff switch besides the Samurott, because Aerodactyl is frail and Duraldum also wants to really keep that Eviolite intact. So yeah, that brings this down for me a lot. Also kind of the lack of, again, immediate power, like outside of your Flareon that still has to get in, activate its orb, terrestrialize, and then can start hitting. That's yeah, like the immediate power is like what holds this team really back for me. Like if this gets going, it's gonna be really, really dangerous, don't get me wrong. You have great hazards, setting and removal in your Fortress. Hitmonlee can also run spin if need be. Fortress gets spikes. Arrow can set rock. Like hazard-wise, you're golden. My only little nuisance here is that you don't have a grounded poison type to just absorb the T-spikes and have to rely on like Fortress. And yeah, Fortress is a Pokemon that can quite easily be caught on a switch, although maybe even you want toxic spikes against you, if I think about it, because your Flareon gets a free poison. Although probably you would rather have a toxic poison than a regular poison, right? Because toxic poison you get like 6% and then 12%, while on 2 turns with regular poison would have lose like a quarter of your health already. If rocks are up, you take rocks. Yeah, this team feels like a real double-edged sword to me. Like, can be really great, but can also struggle a lot. And basically that's why I've put it down here. Also, your speed gaps are okay. I'm gonna say like the gap between Arrow and Frostless is a bit troubling, but there aren't as many Pokemon in Aerodactyl speed tiers, so there won't be that many that actually run Adamant against you, or Modest, because of like really high speed is really rare in low tier. Like you think of your Jolteons, your Swellows, who fit in that category if I'm not wrong, who could run an attack boosting or special attack boosting nature then. Yeah, but elsewise I don't think it's as bad, and yeah, otherwise a really well structured team. I'm intrigued to see how far you go. Coming in number 12, and it hurts me to do this, I've got Miklas, but he also already said to me that he doesn't know how much he likes this team actually, so yeah, for me it's also, like on paper this does not look as bad, but this is another case of your team hates knockoff, right? Gardevoir isn't the bulkiest Pokemon. Tauros can take it, but losing its item most of the time isn't ideal. Dublade, losing a Violet sucks. Dragalge can take it, alright, I guess. Wishy-Washy as well, if it's in his Fortress form. Also, really glad to see Wishy-Washy back once again. This Pokemon was a menace a couple of seasons ago, although that probably still was Gen 8, so don't know if it had a really good Gen 9 season actually. Oh wait, actually, yes it did. It did. Our first Gen 9 season, that thing was also pretty decent. Yeah, the Xatu hates Knock, Rotom does not want to lose its boots, or whatever it's carrying. The Ambipom is frail, Bombardier I guess can take it decently well, but and Golduck and Jumpluff really do not want to take those. Bombardier and Jumpluff are also the Terra captains for this team. I think the Jumpluff's main reason for being there is just for being in this nice little top speed tier. Just something really fast and actually really annoying. Like this, I hate the Jumpluff pick, but I also really like it because like we already have like 2 other flying types on the roster, I think. So you're really actually Bolt Beam kinda destroys you, I'm not gonna lie. So like your Bolt Beam resistances are like Rotom, and I think that's about it. The rest is getting hit at least for neutral. So yeah, that's a problem. So Terra Grass Jumpluff might have to come quite often, and it's still weak to Ice Beam, so actually take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, Gardevoir obviously one of the biggest threats in this. The Fire Tauros is always great to have. Dublade is one of the most underrated Pokemon in low tier still, although most people by now should know how dangerous that thing can be. Dragalge is a nice T-Spike setter. Xatu gives you hazard control, as does Rotom if you choose to run Defog. Ambipom is actually quite decent, as it has a nice speed tier and actually can be really threatening with like tail slap sets, technician double hit sets, fake out just to be annoying and getting chip, U-turning around being annoying. Like I really gotta say the pivoting on this team once again is pretty good. Like most of your Pokemon get like either U-turn, flip turn, or I think Sato gets teleport, so even so you actually have this slow momentum if you wanted to. No electric type is somewhat oh no, I'm stupid again, I forgot Erodom again. So yeah, like having Erodom is pretty good. As an electric type Volt Switch is there, U-turn is there, flip turn is there. So this team will probably try to pivot a lot around you. I think Gardevoir can also Baton Pass if you want it. So yeah, this team, I think what this team is going to come down to is pivoting, and then trying to get your Gardevoir, your offensive Tauros if you want to run that, or your Ambipom into position to do some damage. So, but like, pretty sure Miklas can pull this off, so intrigued to see how far he goes. Then at rank 11 I have Tikao and the Balloon Boys, who once again is back to haunt us all with his Kingler, like he did last season. That thing with Terra Water does, and I think it gets adaptability if I'm not wrong. No, it doesn't. I'm stupid. What does it? What's its ability? Sheer Force. It's Sheer Force. Sheer Force Life Orb. Actually, that's what I thought about. I thought about Crawdon for a second there. I'm sorry. So that thing with like with Sheer Force Life Orb boosted Terra Water, and then either Crab Hammer Liquidation or whatever you want to run there, is a threat. Yeah, base 70 speed isn't so bad. You could like justify some agility sets if you're feeling really funny, because that thing doesn't have too many switch-in we saw last season. We discussed Terra banning it actually, so but ultimately decided against it because I think if you remove Terra from Kingler, you kind of remove the reason to pick it, if that makes sense, because it's not the bulkiest water and it's rather offensive. Yeah, so I think leaving Terra on it is fine, just needs some, because that actually makes Kingler require prep, which I'm all for. Then the Meloetta is a cool pick. I don't think we ever had this used, or if we had, I didn't fight it at least, so I'm pretty intrigued to see what it does. Slurpuff sets up Sticky Web, or can run like funny Belly Drum and Burden sets, both really fun. Mudstill is a great ground type for low tier, sets you up rocks. Delmice and Cryogonal give you Defog, less ground resistance and immunity respectively to cover your Belly Bolt. So it's pretty nice core in my deck. Delmice Belly Bolt is, in my opinion, a really cool little core there. Yanmega with speed boost or tinted lens specs is a threat. Pyukumuku is a Pokemon I really recommend to not underestimate. Of course it's really passive, but it can be really annoying if you don't prep for it really. Yeah, the Perugly, I guess, gives him some speed that he desperately needed, so yeah, cheers to that, that makes sense. And also I think the thing has quite a decent attack stat, so definitely usable for 3 points. And then you have, as your second Terracoon, you have the Glimmet. We actually raised from 1 point to 3 this season because it's way too good for 1 point, like 3 Toxic Spikes, or like some Sash, or like some Corrosion stuff if you're really funny. Yeah, so I really think this this team could go quite far actually. Yet again, I failed to see a Dragon type. Your Dragon type is basically your Terrestrializing Kingler, and I'm not sure you really want to do that, as you're way better off just going Terra Water and clonking things with your stupid claws. Yeah, but elsewise I don't have actually that many complaints about it, right? You have like good removal, you have some decent hazard setting with webs and rocks, not sure, and like Toxic Spikes and Spikes from Glimmer. You have like everything you need there. So yeah, overall I gotta say a really cool team. Again, a lot of those Pokemon really want to keep their items, so your knockoff switch-ins are superb, if I may say so, because of no Dark type either. But that's like Mudstill takes those just fine. I think like the thing's really bulky, gets a stamina boost off it. But like once months there goes, I can see knockoff being an issue for this. Moving on. At number 10, I have Lost Resolution, coached by Cavern, who last season we had dead last because he had like 14 points left or something and then went on to win the entire league, clowning on us all. So still mad respects for that, for you, my friend. That was really, really impressive. Yeah, we actually raised Quillfish Isui by I think 1 or 2 points because of him. So yeah, that's something. And yeah, the man is back this time with a team I think right objectively is better, so I'm even more scared of what the man can do. It's still not, looking at it at first glance, it's not the like super overwhelming, but I really think this could cause some issues for us. Yeah, so we have the Flamigo, great dual stab and flying and fighting, like choice Scarf, choice ban, with Scrappy, just can't even switch in your ghost type on this because it just gets punched in the face anyway. He's using Quillfish, he used really well last season. I actually thought about picking it up like round 2-ish myself, but then ultimately did not, and it's like fair play to him to picking that up again. That thing is great Violet user. You get to Rebombi for sticky whips or Quiver Dance shenanigans, sorry. Tatsugiri is a nice little dragon water type spinner, water immunity, rapid spin, nasty plot sets are funny, so also not to underestimate. Piloswine is a great bulky lower tier ice type, also ground type, which is always great. Violet makes this thing absurdly bulky. Magneton the same, like can be run with Violet, but can also be run offensive with like Scarf or Specs, and like Specs analytic Magneton. That thing will hurt if you pull that off. If not, like just Violet makes this thing absurdly bulky, surviving random earthquakes, which it actually has no business of surviving. Yeah, the Hisuian Typh, big threat in the lower tiers, like just Scarf Eruption sets if you keep hazards off with your Tatsu, or you're spinning Armaldo if you choose to bring that. Infernal Parade is super annoying to deal with. Yeah, or just in general, like offensive sets, this thing will be annoying. Armaldo is a great Terra Captain in my opinion, can rapid spin, can set up rocks, I think gets spikes as well. So yeah, great thing. Yeah, Toucanon as Terra Captain I'm also really hyped to see, because that thing with like loaded dice, Terra Grass Bullet Seed, not loaded dice, a Skilling Bullet Seed with like a choice band or something of that sort can be really hurtful, so I'm intrigued to see what that thing will do. The Decidueye Shisui he also brought back from his last season, and he also used that thing to very much effect, so I'm intrigued to see once again what this thing will do. And the Alola Chew, I guess, is mainly there for the speed tier and some fast pivoting, if I were to guess. Although I think Flamigo kind of fits the same category, so I guess having a Psychic is cool. Yeah, what I do not like about this team as much is, once again, knockoff goes kinda crazy on you, because nothing really likes to lose its item. Like, you have like 3 Pokemon to potentially run Eviolite, so I mean, you probably won't bring all of them to one game, but yeah, like your knockoff switch is once the Quill, then it has no Eviolite and might suffer from the follow-up moves. Your Decidueye should take them rather well, but is obviously vulnerable to like ice punches, gunk shots if Pokemon have that. Yeah, so intrigued to see, and the rest do not like knockoff at all. Yeah, type-wise, this team looks pretty good to me. You have your Fairy, your Dragon, and your Steels. You have your Fire, Waters, and Grass Pokemon. Do you actually have a Grass type? You actually do not. Oh, right, yeah, you do Decidueye, yes. So, core-wise, this is good. I think speed tier is also looking pretty good. So yeah, overall good team. Just for my liking, a little too knockoff weak. But that's about all the complaints I have here. At 9, I put Hodge, coach of the Chicago Bulls, and the man that single-handedly swore to take out all compies in this world. Also commissioner of our partnered league NBA, so shoutouts to them over there. Coming in with a certainly scary team, but also one that I think has some flaws. Like I'm missing a real great physical breaker, because I think the Copperaja, Tauros, and Serena are all decent. I think they're actually decent, but like the Serena will most of the time probably will be run defensively. The Copperaja also oftentimes runs defensive investments, but can be really threatening offensively, so you could use that, but it's also really slow, and if it's offensive, it's not too bulky again, so Geiger is a great defensive Pokemon. In NetDex it still has Roost, so will be really annoying to remove if you keep it safe from ice moves. Yes, Serena, one of the best spinners in the format in my opinion. Pure grass typing helping it out there as well. The Water Tauros is also pretty cool because it can be bulky, it can be run offensive, so that's pretty great. The Electrode is like cool fast momentum, but if it isn't your Terra Captain, I don't know, like it's pretty easily walled, and it's probably relegated to like setting screens and vaulting out, if I had to guess. And we have the first Terra Captain in Cacturn. Again, I don't know. Like the thing with Terra probably can be cool, right? Like Terra Dark, Ghost, and Fire, pretty cool Terra types for it. It gets Terra Blast if I'm not wrong, so got that going for it. But obviously it's pretty frail and not the fastest as well, so we'll have to see what Honch does with it. Next up we have a Dashbot as a cool Wish Passive Fairy type for the team. Pretty great Pokemon, I love to use it myself, albeit maybe a bit passive. Arbok actually got buffed this gen, it gets Scale Shot now, so that's cool. I think also Toxic Spikes, that's something to definitely keep in mind. So this Pokemon could make an appearance, Intimidate is always nice. Would have loved to see it as a Terra Captain over the Cacturn maybe, and just beat the Cacturn being an entirely different Pokemon. But that's just my dislike for the thing, so yeah. Typhlosion, yes, Eruption. Again, if you can protect this thing from hazards, Scarf or Specs Eruption will go in on you, so... and Dodrio as a Terra Captain also gets Terra Blast, so it gets Fighting Courage to break through Rock types and Steel types, which is pretty great. Terra types Flying, Normal, and Fighting, which I fully support, because that actually I think could make it put in the work. Like as I said, I would have maybe liked the Arbok or the Electrode over the Cacturn as Terra Captain, but again, that's just me. Yeah, like one big my biggest complaint is again losing items on your team, because you like your Zoroark, Kate's knockoff, your Typhlosion doesn't appreciate it as it's frail, Gligar wants to keep your Violite, like Copper probably wants to keep like it's a Salt Vest or leftovers it's gonna carry most of the time. Yeah, like that's like again, like knockoff is, in my opinion at least, like you have your switch in with Tauros, right? And Dashbot can take those as well, I think. The rest isn't too appreciative of losing its item or taking the move in general. But you gotta answer, it's not like you have nothing for it, just many Pokemon hate it. You're pretty good into Edgequake spam, so that's good. Bolt Beam is also not the biggest issue. Yeah, also, obviously I did not mention, but I think it goes without saying that this Zoroark Hisui, although we banned Nasty Plot on it, so it can't boost at least, that thing with Specs will be a menace. Like switching into that is not fun at all. So yeah, pretty nice team you have there, Hunt. Intrigued to see how far you go. Alright, sorry for the little cut here. As I said, I'm still a little sick, so had to pause there for a second. Moving on to rank 8. At rank 8, I put myself Pegnitz Pyranus, freshly rebranded for Season 10. Can't be more hyped for this new team. Had this logo made by Aiko Bloodstone, who's also on the server. Shout out to her. Really hyped to bring the new team to work. And right, how to better bring the new team to work with bringing back Pangoro. One of my all-time favorite low-tier draft Pokemon. If you click like knockoff and close combat, have fun switching into that, because there aren't many things that would want to. Get Gunk Shot, Iron Head, Punches for coverage, get Bullet Punch for priority, get Parting Shot. As I said, like if it was like a bit faster, this thing would, to be fair, not be here. I'm gonna be honest, so yeah. Just really hyped to get my boy back again. Didn't want to draft it first, but had to fix some issues with my team in Grace, so here we are. Going from the top, like I have the Inteleon, a fast pivot, also can deal a shit ton of damage with like spec sets. Obviously the old Focus Energy Snipe Shot set could be really cool to run with Sniper. Yeah, Florges, one of the fairies, I should say, that I never used before in low tier, so I'm really stoked to try it out. Decidueye for my Fire Water Grass Core, also Ghost type to tag these fighting moves. Also Pokemon I never used before, so I'm really hyped to use it. Or actually, I think I've used it in my first ever draft, but that's like 4 years ago now. So yeah, and that was I think that was actually a Sword and Shield Dex league. So kinda hyped to get to use this in a low tier scenario, maybe get some production out of it again. Steelix, one of the better steel types on the format in my opinion. Grounded Steel, like my Volt Switch immunity. Great defensive Pokemon for my team, I think. Galvantula I got only for the sticky web, because like Pangoro appreciates webs, because then regular Pokemon are less likely to outspeed me if I run the right investments. Scarfus obviously still will do, but Scarfus then proceed to not outspeed my Inteleon anymore, which I really like. Yeah, so also like 97% accurate Thunders and getting paralysis on things with the Galvantula. Like also Pokemon I never used before, so I really wanted to try it out and give it a shot in this. So yeah, happy to have it here. Then I have Marini as a low tier bulky water, because Inteleon is everything but a bulky water. Yeah, so with Violet, this thing becomes absurdly bulky, gives me access to T-Spikes as well. Regenerate is a great ability to just come in, take a hit, switch out again. Read through cover, get Scald Toxic, just be annoying, honestly, that's its main purpose. Then I've got Macargo, which I picked up in Grace because I had to settle for a cheaper fire type, and it is Macargo. I mean, it gives me rocks, and I had enough points to make it a Terra Captain, as you can see. With Terra Grass and Terra Dragon, I think it actually becomes usable. I'm not saying good, I say usable. I'll have to see how often I will be bringing it, but like weak armor, Shell Smash, blah blah. It's so specific, and I think like at +4 speed I still don't outspeed most Scarfers, so yeah, that's Macargo for you. But maybe with these Terras I can get something out of it. I'm intrigued to see if I can. Yeah, but like definitely not the best fire type to get. Squawkabilly as a Terra Captain at 6 points, I thought was worth the try. If it ends up being terrible, which I really do not hope, because I really like this Pokemon, I want to use it. Obviously I get all 4 forms of it in this. With Terra Normal, Terra Ghost and Terra Ground, I think I can punch through most things. And yeah, like Guts Facade, like it's basically a budget Flareon that's a bit faster, so that's basically what I went for here. Mr. Rhyme gives me a Rapid Spinner, also removes Light Screen and Reflect if I need it to with Screen Cleaner. Yeah, other than that, not too sure how often I shall bring that. Pangoro already talked about length. At last I have as my dragon Fracture with like Terra Dragon, Terra Steel and Terra Water. Can run Eevee, let Kendras just be Bandit First Impression, Bandit Outrage, Bandit Earthquakes, Bandit Iron Heads. Like this thing can hit like a truck because it has a pretty nice attack set for my team. So yeah, really looking forward to also getting to use this. Like my main issues with this obviously is that my Dragon, Fire and Bulky Water are rather low tier Pokemon, so I don't know if that could come around to bite me. Yeah, also if I I'm also rather vulnerable if I do not get up webs in some matchups, if Inteleon gets taken out early. And also like my speed tiers aren't super great, so that's the main thing here. That's also a big reason for the webs is just to make up for that not too great speed of the team. But yeah, still think pretty like a perfectly middle of the pack team in my opinion, and I'll just want to see how far I can take this. At rank 7 I have Drew and the Long Island Lucarios returning for yet another season, and like just looking at this like top 3 Pokemon gives reason to be scared. Like Alomomola, bulky as yeah, you know, the Reveroom can set up shift gears and be really annoying. Also can just be a T-Spiker if need be. Mola gets flip turn now, so actually a pivot, so Ampharos can pivot, Whimsicott can pivot, just to bring in your friends. Like the stakeout Mabosstiff, like Mabosstiff is still in my opinion the best stakeout Pokemon. The thing hits like a fucking truck. Really afraid that Claydol, nice Rapid Spinner, Stealth Rocker, screen support, can rock Cosmic Power sets, although not as threatening without Terra as it was in our first season 9 season. That was stupidly good. Armor Rock also big threat with multiple setup ways, so also can just be specs and just murder you. You have the Greedent, there is a Terra Captain which is cool. Drifblim as second Terra Cap is also, I think these Terra Captains are really nice choices in my opinion. They can work really well. Cutifly as a like maybe a sticky web lead if you want to, and then you have a Probopass, which I'm honestly not too sure what it does outside of giving you a rock type. Like if you want physical bulk, you have your Alomomola. Special bulk you can find in your, I think there are also better options for special walls, and I don't think its SBF is that great, or I might actually get this wrong. But this 4-time weakness to Earthquake really does not help you at all, because you have another 4x weakness to Earthquake. Armor Rock doesn't like Earthquake, and many of your Pokemon also do not do. Also, Bolt Beam goes stupid on this team. Like for Earthquake, you can at least go to your Claydols and your Whimsicotts, but Whimsicott probably doesn't take Stonages that well. And yeah, and also as I said, as Miklas pointed out to me, like Bolt Beam goes in on this team, like Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, this combination kinda tears through you, as you don't have that many resistances to both. But still a really threatening team that can, like if like you get your setup on Reveroom, you get your maybe even just Cotton Guard or Agility Ampharos Mega, can be annoying, like Calm Mind, Unburden, Drifblim or something like that. Yeah, like with screen support from Claydol and setup Armor, this team isn't threatening immediately, but if you get it going, I'm not looking forward to fighting it. Next up at rank 6, Smoliv Garden, coached by the scary Smoliv, real trooper, like wants to play in every division we have. I think we managed to put you in 3, so yeah, couldn't do more unfortunately, because we just had too many people to get in. And yeah, but still shout out to Smoliv for being a real trooper. So they, a topic is Lucario. In the low tier context, this thing might just take over if you're not careful. Like if that thing can set up a nasty plot, a sword stance, shit might just be over for you. Overquill is a great lower tier, or what I should say mid tier, grounded poison type, also dark type, so takes your knockoffs for your team pretty well. Like protects your Sinistcha really well, in fact. Like Sinistcha Overquill is a really nice defensive core, I like it a lot. Quagsire is always great, gives you hazards, Mesprit gives you hazards. Also you could think of like some funny Rain Dance stuff with like Mesprit and then you Swift Swim Overquill. I think Mesprit gets Rain Dance, or something does. Terra Captain Pikachu is a threat. That thing murdered me in our 3rd place game last season. We actually made it a bit more expensive this season, but still as a Terra Captain with Light Ball, great as Pokemon. Honestly, the thing, like you don't live any hits, but still because you're a Pikachu obviously, but still you will be doing damage. Wigglytuff as a second Terra Captain is also really cool. I've used it myself. Also can set up rocks. So, with ways to Terra to actually be a fighting resist or not caring about poison moves, that thing actually can get quite bulky. Wish support for the team as well if you want it. Can also be run cheekily with like competitive and switch into like a sticky web because you're not outspeeding anyway. Get that competitive boost and then at least do some damage. Probably still won't be super high levels of damage, but could still be damage. Next up we have a Turtonator. Dragon is the Dragon Fire type. This thing was a terror of our VGC divisions in season 8, in our Gen 8 seasons, I should say. So yeah, Articuno with boots is a pretty cool Pokemon. Still the quad weakness to rock sucks. If it could Terra, it would be way better in my opinion, but it's a nice Earthquake immunity, another Earthquake immunity for your team. It adds defog, and also it's pretty bulky, so if you play it right on with boots, I think it's usable. Floatzel, as I said, Rain Dance with this team could actually be a thing if you got a Floatzel that's just clicking Choice Band and Wave Crashes. Obviously you can't Terra Water it in here, and with good reason, but still, yeah, that's super threatening in my opinion. Fearow is meh, I must say. If it was a Terra Captain, I maybe would be a little bit more hyped about it, but as it's just like a mediocre offensive flying type for low tier value you had there, I think maybe could be something else. I don't know. Call-wise Fire Water Grass, Fairy Dragon Steel you got there. Maybe you could have thought about a low tier steel with like an Eviolite steel type, like a Lairon or something, because Lucario isn't your typical steel, right? But yeah, awesome. But maybe not Lairon actually, but something else in that direction. I don't know. Would have to check the tier list again, but that's just how I feel about it. But like, still really, really well put together team in my opinion. Like I said, the Rain Dance stuff is can be stupid with like 2 Swift Swimmers potentially. Yeah, Quagsire is cool, and yeah, Sinistcha will be super annoying to kill with that Overquill. Like this tandem is really, really great. Moving on. At 5, I've put the Encarta as Cavaliers, coached by Picano. Main reason for me to do this is, again, I really like this team. It's pretty well balanced in my opinion. Like my biggest issue is that your Fairy type is Mawile. That's like my biggest issue with your team. Because Mawile, I don't know about it, man. I know Miklos used this in the past to pretty great success actually, until it got blown up by a certain Golem. Yeah, Carco's a cool low tier spinner. Also like Fire type, yeah, like it's basically Fire type. Like Grass and Water types are great in Tentacruel and Shaman. I really like those a lot. Once again, you miss a Dragon if I'm not missing anything, so, but I think this team more than compensates for it. Actually, like Shaman is stupidly bulky, Tentacruel is cool, so you're not too scared about elemental moves of any sort actually, because Shaman and Tenta will take those pretty well. Galarian Articuno, big setup threat of course. Cinccino with Tidy Up now, this thing becomes really, really good if you can get that Tidy Up off. Like, pretty sure something on this team gets screened, so set up a screen, set up a Tidy Up, and then just go to town. Like with like Tidy Up, loaded dice, Technician, or even like Skill Link and some damage boosting item. I don't know which one's the better one actually. Might depend, but still, that thing will be a menace. Can pivot, like you have also pretty great pivoting. Like Cinccino, Shaman gets Baton Pass, I think Tenta gets Flip Turn now. Yeah, Orpheum as a defensive steal is cool. Obviously no Shed Tail in this, but still, it's pretty great defensively. It's a ground immunity with its Earth Eater, protecting your Carkol, your Mawiles, your Manectrics, your Tentacruels. So that's actually really, really cool for the team. Fire moves ended and get taken by Tentacruel. So yeah, this team really can do for the Dragon type. Hitmontop is great removal. You got to, like, you only got Rocks as your hazard. It's like or Orpheum gets Spikes, I think. So I think you get Spikes and Tenta gets T-Spikes again, so yeah, no, hazard-wise it's fine, removal is fine with like your Hitmon top. It's one as a Tentacruel, 2 of the better spinners in the format. Carkol as a low tier spinner can be okay, but I think I would have liked it more if the Mawile was Terra Captain over the Carkol. We had the points for that, so yeah. And Spiritomb just sitting there as a low tier ghost type that also can be threatening if not dealt with accordingly. Of course, only weak to fairy types, so can be also a nuisance. Overall, I'm really not looking forward to fighting this if I have to. I don't know yet, I haven't checked the schedule, if I'm gonna be honest, because I wanted to do these unbiased. So, yeah, really liking this team still, so really, really intrigued to see how far we go, my friend. Next up, we got probably one of the favorites to win the season. It's Eli and the Philadelphia Psybe. Obviously, back-to-back champion in our regular NetDex divisions. The man, yeah, just dominated, it's fair to say, and comes around to low tier with a really, really scary team. Again, lots of pivoting options. I think most of these things either get Baton Pass, U-turn, or Flip Turn, which is actually no Flip Turn. No, Jelvin does not get Flip Turn, sadly, but you have a lot of U-turners around here. Low Kicks is, in low tier context, is super scary. Really great breaker for the team. Like with First Impression, Leech Life, Knock Off, U-turn, Throat Chop. You only need Bug and Dark Step, if I'm honest. Like maybe you can run Superpower if you get that. I'm not sure. You would need to check. But yeah, like Low Kick's great Pokemon for the low tier. Diancie, I think we still have this too cheap, if I'm gonna be honest. I think 12 is too cheap. We might think about a raise next season, depending on what Eli does with it. Like Power Herb, Meteor Beam, Iron Defense Sets, Diamond Storm, Body Press, Weakness Policy Sets because you're so stupidly bulky. You name it, you name them all. Diancie, yeah, great fairy type, one of the best in low tier in my opinion, and yeah, I still don't know why we have this so cheap. I'm gonna be real with you. Might have been an oversight when we changed the tier list this season. Kilowattrel is a great pivot, great typing to pivot in, pivot out, gets Roost, Hurricane, Discharge, Thunderbolt, you know it by now. Jellicent, one of my all-time favorite low-tier Pokemon, great water ghost typing. Just Strength Saps, Will-O-Wisps, hexes you, can be toxic, can also run toxic, can just run Shadow Ball, can run Water Spout if you're feeling funny and yeah, predicting like switches from the opponent. Like really great Pokemon. You think you can hear that, I love it. Espeon is great speed tier, great way of hazard control for your team with Magic Bounce. Also gets Calm Mind. I think it gets Alluring Voice now, so it actually has fairy coverage, which is pretty great. Or did it get Gleam before? I'm actually not too sure. As Alluring Voice now as well. To boot, Calm Mind can be a thing. Can set up screens for your team, which I also like. Set up screens, set up your Diancie or something, and have fun. Rotomo, one of the best pivots in this entire format. Love the Pokemon, used it multiple times. I don't think I have to say much about this. Muk is a great Terra Captain for the team. Grounded Poison if you need it. To can Terra, Poison, Water or Ground. Yeah, so I think we all know by now that Terra Captain Muk is pretty cool. Verdier I've actually seen, and I think it was never used before in this league, in this division I should rather say. So I have no idea how well this will do. Can Terra Normal, Fairy or Steel. We might, depending on how bad Eli decks us with this, we might also have to raise it out of Terra range, which sadly then probably would result into it not being used at all anymore. Hitmonchan, your fighting type for the team. Rapid Spin, great. Rapidash, great lower tier fire type. I also love this Pokemon a lot. And then my really only complaint about this team in particular is that your ground type is Mudbray. Like, Miklas had this once, he hated it, I know it. In my opinion, it's not as bad, but it's also not the greatest of ground types, of course. Like, how often you're gonna bring Mudbray and then that basically forces Volt Absorb on Kilowattrel? I mean, you have that as your second Volt immunity, so that's mainly my take why it's not the end of the world that Mudbray is your ground type. Yeah, so But yeah, how often you're gonna bring that, and if your kilowatt roll then gets killed, your opponent might just start volt switching around your team and start to pivoting. But you pivot pretty well yourself, so gonna be really interesting. And I'm not sure if you even win the pivot war. So yeah, really good team. Then on third, I have the Bronx Basketball, coached by McGrill. So like just the top 3 picks for me, even the top 4 if you wanna be that specific, are really so like Fairy Dragon Steel Core in 2 Pokemon, Tinkaton and Cyclizar. Amazing, just amazing. Like these 2 together, like Tinkaton setting the Rock Cycle is obviously still no Shed Tail, but the utility this Pokemon provides is pretty great. Can spin, as can your Blastoise, who again cannot Shell Smash in this league because we figured it would be too much, and I kind of don't want to make Blastoise an 18-point Pokemon or have to ban it outright, so we banned the Smash. But still good bulky water with Rapid Spin. In that decks it can also use Refresh to not get status, can flip turn around, Scalding. So yeah, still just being bulky and annoying. Can also be run physical, I've seen that quite a couple of times, so yeah. Then you have the Wicker Volt for sticky web purposes, which actually does this team really well. Because like then Tinkaton, which isn't too slow itself, might just start on speeding things and just Gigaton hammering you into the ground. Skuntank is a great grounded poison type for the team. Also Vikavolt can just be specs and kill you. I probably don't need to mention that, but still wanted to. Yeah, then you have Blaziken. No speed boost of course, but still can be physical, can be special. Like can break on both ways, can pivot, gets priority. That thing always has been a menace to deal with in our low tier league. So yeah, and then on the bottom, we gets a little bit thinner. Like Bramblegast, I think this is also one Pokemon. This might be like 1 or 2 points too cheap. With it getting Poltergeist now, like Poltergeist, Power Whip, Strength Sap, and Spin or Leech Seed. Annoying. Not gonna lie to you guys. This thing will be annoying, and yeah. So really intrigued to see what will happen. Then next up, Stunfisk, one of my favorite low tier defensive ground types. Party Electric is also cool. It makes it ground weak, but your team covers up quite decently into ground with your Bramblegast. Throw is taking Earthquakes as well. Vikavolt is levitating. Bramblegast is a resist if you run it a little defensively. Swoobit is an immunity, so you do not care too much. Stone Edge is handled by your Tinkaton really well and by Throw as well, so you might have a lot of defensive pressure on your Throw, but still a great Pokemon. Throw is one of the Terra captains for a team, as is Swoobit. Terra Swoobit might actually be really scary with Simple setting up on us, but in the end of the day, it might still just succumb to it being a Swoobit actually, so I do not know. Oops, I'm sorry. Yeah, so intrigued to see what this Swoobit will accomplishing as a Terra Captain, if we need to raise it out of range or if it can just stay that way. Zorua, I'm not sure how often it will come, of course. Probably just there to fill up the points or to run. Does Zorua get comeuppance? I'm actually not sure, or is it just a Hisuian one? Because if it does, like, I mean, it can still be annoying with Illusion, right? So you don't know, is it dead now or what is it? So, but I'm not sure how often it will come. And yeah, it lasts to Throw. Great defensive fighting type. Used it a lot. Loved them on to death. Yeah, and overall, I think this is a very well-rounded team. Decent speed tiers with sticky webs as well. So I think this team might go very far this season. Coming in at number 2, I have the Plasma Fists, coached by Ace Titanium. Just looking at the top 2 months again, like Tyrantrum plus Bronzong is sick. Like Tyrantrum is probably the one of the best, if not the best, physical breaker in the meta game here. And it's just yeah, like switching into this Pokemon between Head Smash, Earthquake, and Close Combat. Yeah, also really strong Outrages. Then Bronzong levitates as Levitate, so it can come in on Earth, and the Dragon moves, Fairy moves, and Ground moves aimed at Tyrantrum, so this is a really great combination. Then you have Regis as a Terra Captain, great pickup. Like Terra Regis is really good, as is Terra Ferret in my opinion, because that thing also gets tidy up. So those are those are two Terra Captains to look out for. Pawmod, yet another pivot. Revival Blessing obviously banned, but still Electric Fighting coverage is pretty rough to switch into. Sharpedo can speed boost, of course. Also might be your special breaker most of the time, because outside of it your team is really physically based, I gotta say. Because Nidoqueen, as you see below, does not get Sheer Force in our league. I've only allowed this because I really love them on, but Sheer Force is just too much for the tier in my opinion. But it still is a really good bulky ground and poison type to set up rocks and T-spikes for your team, so definitely gonna get some usage out of it. Mega Bayonet has Poltergeist now, so it might still be too cheap. We already raised it, but I'm not sure. Torracat, third Terra Captain for the team. Great low tier fire type with a Violet in my opinion. Very usable. I think it also gets like its U-turn, gets Fake Out if you want to chip, although that would be, I think, more VGC relevant. Don't know if you get Parting Shot actually, it's a Jet and Sin thing, I don't know. But yeah, still pretty decent support. Also can Wisp, and is also rather fast at base 90, I think, so good Pokemon. Illumise is just a low tier support Pokemon that will be annoying with Prankster, I have no doubts. And then Shiinotic as your grass and your fairy type for the team. At 6 points, great, like not the greatest Pokemon, but still has access to Spore, and has Strength Sap, so has the tools to be annoying. If you protect this thing from poison type moves, I think, which your Bronzong again can very well do, yeah, you're gonna be fine. So this is, I think it's safe to say that this team on paper looks super scary. Like, as I said, my only issue is it's very physically based, but I think that also can be played around. So yeah, intrigued to see how far Ace can go with this. And at number 1, I've got Joey and the Los Angeles Nido Kings. And no, not because of Comfy Hunch. That actually almost wanted me to not put it first. But then again, in my opinion, this is just the most well-rounded team. Although it might not look as threatening at first glance. Flygon, one of the best, if not the best, low-tier Pokemon, can Dragon Dance up, can be Scarf, can be banned, it can also be run defensively because it gets Defog and Roost. Like, this it's kind of jack of all trades Pokemon, just protected from ice types, and you can like live most hits, get a hit off, or just pivot around. Comfey, as much as I hate the Pokemon, it still has, but it has the potential to sweep you every singular time. Yeah, so if you're not careful, like, try it, Draining Kiss, Giga Drain after like 1 or 2 Calm Minds. I hate this Pokemon so much, but I have to acknowledge it's just good. Sorry. Yeah, and then obviously can also just be utility with like Defog, U-turn, Synthesis, and I think it gets like Aromatherapy as well. So it can just be a Cleric if you need one. Lantern gets Heal Bell, gets Volt Switch. Great bulky water type, can be either Volt or Water Absorb, so have an immunity if you want one. Melamar and low tier, yeah, I just recently got swept by one, so Contrary Superpower can be really scary if you lose your answers to it. The Bastiodon, God, I love Bastiodon, gotta get it in here. Great Terra Captain, like with Terra this thing gets so absurdly much more better. Great defensive Pokemon. Setting up on it also is kinda because it can just draw you out. And with Terra it then just Terra's into one of its 2 types that resists fighting or is immune to ground, and then rolls you out. Your setup was for not. That's, yeah, will be annoying. Gobit is a great lower tier Eviolite user. Defog, Roost, really bulky with Eviolite. Of course, great defensive typing and flying and poison. Takes all those fighting hits for you, which actually you have enough answers for. Anyways, Virizion is a great setup Pokemon, in my opinion, for grass and fighting type. Like, can be physical, can be special as well, which I really love. Gets Vacuum Wave now, so it actually has priority on the special side as well. Hooper is probably the single best special breaker in low tier. only like held back by its speed stat. But still, Shadow Ball, Psychic, Psyshock, Scar for specs, pick one, and basically then it's basically what do I switch into you. Like if my Dark type gets weakened or this thing just has Focus Blast, yeah, your Dark type's also gone. So rough, really rough to switch into, right? Magmortar, another great special breaker if you need one. Yeah, I don't have to say too much about this, I think. Great reliable Flame Body to burn you if you make contact with it. Can also be run bulky if you want it, I think. To like surprisingly live a hit, burn you, and then get out. Gets teleport in this format, which is really important to note. So it actually gets slow momentum. Vigoroth as a normal type Violet user can also be really scary if that thing gets to set up. I think like Swordsdance, Trailblaze, normal move something could be a set for it. And then you have Masquerain, which in my opinion is one of the best 6 points Terra Captain, right? Quiver Dance up, Terrestrialize into a type that gives you a useful resistance or a coverage move you need, like in this case a Ghost to blow past. Yeah, to like just to hit those that could come in, might wall you, or Terra actually Ghost. Actually, I don't get. I'm not sure about the Terra Ghost now that I think about it more. But I guess it gives you a way of hitting Psych. Actually, no. I think. What does the Terra Ghost do for you? Actually, I'm intrigued. Is it a defensive Terra then? Too, because fighting you resist anyways, right? Like double resist. So gotta be an offensive Terra, right? To blow past some stuff. Yeah, that's the part I don't get about this team. Elsewise, I think this team is like the best Terra captains in the league, with Bastard and Masquerain as the two of them. Pretty great. Yeah, overall, I really like this team. It doesn't look super threatening, like at first glance as the other teams do, but I think this team. But this might be very deceitful. I'm not gonna lie. I really think that this team will go very far. If I'm wrong, yeah, joke's on me. However, in my opinion, this is the one team to beat. He and Ace, like they were really close for first place. Like these two, like yeah. Anyways, I think I've rambled on for long enough. I actually wanted to do this a heck of a lot quicker, but still got caught rambling for an hour. I'd just like to say thank you all for watching. Yeah, if you liked it, let me know. Like, yeah, do the YouTube thing, I don't know. Yeah, if you liked it, and let me know. I might have to do this again for another season. Then hopefully with someone alongside me to help me ramble on and point out how stupid I am in some cases. Again, if I put you low, I'm sorry. That's just my opinion on how the team is. Yeah, but that's about it. Thank you all again very much for watching, and I'll see you on to the next one. Have a good one.